me
right.
know.
You're hot.
Good to go?
Yep.
Alright. So, countdown in 3, 2, 1.
And we're off. Welcome to Demons Blazon. Or Demon's Crest for those of you who speak English. We've got a 100% run coming up here. Starting off hot with a boss in this game, and the first boss is Samulo. The easiest, most boring boss in the game, where we can simply hover and shoot him in the face a few times and move on with our lives.
And it's a lot easier in the Japanese card too. It takes half the amount of hits.
Also in the Japanese cart, you can hover above his head. You can hover at his head. If you do that in the English version, he'll never duck his head down. So you'll have to keep jumping and shooting. You guys should introduce yourselves for those who don't know.
So I'm Star Surfer.
And I'm Sagging Rufus.
So that's Samulo done. Easy peasy.
So that item Samulo drops is just a health upgrade. So Cinema's health is the small red orbs in the upper left-hand corner of the game. So we finally start getting into some enemies, and you'll see in a number of these levels, all we really do is just jump, hover, and fly over everything.
On that setup.
100% has things you got to pick up. So right there, Cinema just destroyed that stone gargoyle to get a little scroll, which is useless in the game as far as the run goes, but we need it for 100% to complete the whole run.
So I guess this is our first real boss, Hippogriff 1. He's kind of annoying if he goes up in the air. Hopefully he'll stay low for us.
I didn't get it perfectly, but that wasn't horrible. Thanks for the good luck, Rogue Link and Bay Victus.
So this boss we're going to see a couple times in the rest of the game. 100% is, you see the estimate up there, 55 minutes. World record is 39:38. And how long is any percent? Any percent world record is 10:36.
And that's actually held by Star Surfer right now.
Right now, yeah.
Acting like anybody's going to beat that.
I'm coming for you.
So you see Cinema do a couple things here. The one I want to point out is that in this game, when you shoot, Firebrand stops moving. So what we try to do as much as while we're jumping or while we're falling, and that causes you not to lose any frames from left to right.
You also can't shoot again until the fireball is completely dissipated as well. So if you're shooting far away, it can really hurt you.
Yep. If you just start this game, you can't mash on bosses because what happens is you miss and then you gotta wait a few seconds for your fireball to get off screen. This is our first RNG boss right here, basically. A lot of runs are reset here. He has a few different patterns, but as long as he stays down towards the middle of the screen, we can just continually fire at him until he dies.
Oh my god. That wasn't terrible.
This looks to be going pretty well, but...
He gave me the business near the end, but...
You can actually manipulate this boss a little bit, but
it's really
the jury's still out on whether it's really possible. consistently. That item there is the Earth Crest. So with that, we can transform into the ground gargoyle, which you'll see Cinema here when he lands in the town. There's a couple interesting things about ground gargoyle. First of which is that he can dash. Dashing is the quickest way to move throughout the game, hands down. But he also does different damage. So when this gargoyle shoots in midair, he fires a single projectile. And it does 1 damage, but if you shoot while you're standing on the ground, he fires a projectile that goes along the ground. That one does 2 damage. So there's a couple places in the game where we specifically fire shots along the ground to do 2 damage to bosses instead of 1. But I'd say this is the most used gargoyle in this run.
Oh, for sure.
Other than legendary, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Did you guys even catch me getting that no recoil on the statue hit?
No, I didn't. I wasn't paying attention.
That's really hard to do, and I was happy I did it. It basically takes a precise jump after you charge into that statue, and if you jump correctly, you don't get recoil, and you can just go right through the door.
There's an interesting lag reduction strat right here, where if you sit in the goo while the boss is climbing to the top of the stage, you can reduce lag by quite a bit. Some people estimate up to like 5 seconds, as opposed to just wall jumping. So Cinema's going to sit up there and do those standing shots to the eyeballs whenever he can, just so he can do 2 quick damage to them. Otherwise it can take a little while to kill these things. There's a strategy where you can stand on the goo and fire at these eyeballs, but it's a little bit tricky and it's risky. If you screw it up, you end up losing more time than you would just sit over here and shoot him in midair.
That might have been the most clutchest 1 cycle of all time. Yeah, Star missing all the legit tricks. Oh, I did that. That was for you, Vivictus, the off-screen pickup in a marathon. He's mad nobody's ever done it.
So the item we get here, and the main reason we do this boss so early, is that we get Buster, and that allows us to break through bricks to get to items in these levels. Otherwise, we'd have to go back and do a lot of reading.
It's free. So that trick I just did there, it's only like a couple pixels. I can get that vellum without taking damage.
So why don't you tell them what these vials are for that we're picking up?
Star.
So these little vials, they kind of look like test tubes isn't the right word, but whatever. Later on, we're going to fill these things up with potions. So Cinema has 2 right now. Later on in the run, he's going to have 4. And what we do is we fill them with 2 different types of potions. One of which is a mercury, and one of which is a sulfur. And they're key in allowing us to do quick revisits later on in the run. So when we get there, I'll explain what those 2 potions do. But the way the run is routed, it's important for us to get 4 vials before we enter a certain sequence of levels.
That was bad. I don't know why I did that. We're through.
And here you'll see that Buster use that I was talking about before. If we didn't have it here, we would have to come all the way back through this level. You can see how laggy it is. We just end up wasting a lot of time.
I did get a swag jump, Sagan Rufus. Please don't kill me. I got the one on your way to Flame Lord.
So there's one really crazily placed item in this game, and you're going to see it here after Cinema purposefully dies to this boss. Those trees that are on fire there, you'll see now when we come back in the level that they're magically gone. If you die during that boss fight, it despawns these trees up at the top of the level, and if you go backwards, you'll see that there's actually a hidden health drop up in these trees.
Yeah, somebody told me their theory was that it was like a mercy rule, and that makes a lot of sense.
It saves a lot of time to just take the death there rather than revisit the level.
And this game's actually pretty forgiving. You can die as many times as you want, and you never ever get a game over. I don't know about you guys, when I played this when I was younger, I did constantly.
Oh yeah. So what Cinema's going to want to do here is his last couple hits, he's actually going to want to jump into the Flame Lord, because if he's able to kill him while he's on top of him, it skips a really long death animation. So we'll see if he can get that here.
No, I miscounted.
Oh, good.
Oh, good?
The hardest part about this boss is counting the 20.
Yeah, really. It's difficult.
So by dying inside the boss, you pick up this item. So you can see it on screen now, but if Cinema were standing on top of it, he would just pick it up, and the level would be over. It saves 7 seconds roughly. The dreaded mini game. Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, because I suck at this.
This is probably the hardest thing about this run when you start out, and it looks really, really easy, but it took me quite a few tries even to beat this game when I was first starting out. What you got to do is bash, I think, 25 skulls by the time those torches burn out. So each one of those torches represents a set amount of time. If you're exceptional at this, you can get it with 4 torches still up. 3 is pretty good, and then 2 and 1, is when we start clenching the old b-holes.
Yeah, I didn't do that good.
Not a whole lot going on in the beginning of this level. Just trying to avoid some damage, navigate through these pillars. There are ways to clip through this pillar here that Cinema stopped at, but it's pretty difficult, and whether
It's
or
way
not
easier.
it saves
Yeah, it's way easier to do it second time through.
So again, we're using the Buster here to break some bricks so we can go back here and pick up an item. Another
And I got swag jump again for you, Rufus.
I appreciate it. Speed runs are more about swag than speed.
That actually saves time though, so the first swag jump, I don't know how much time it saves, but that one, it's like clear that it saves time. So there's manipulation for Hippogriff too, if Star wants to explain it. It's not really anything big, but...
So that even though we're fighting the same boss, and we're going to fight this boss again later on in the run, the patterns are a little bit different and the speed is a little bit different. So this one flies up much faster.
That was a sick fight.
And what you want to do is sit right off the front of the Hippogriff so that he goes to the ground. And if you all were listening before, you remember that those ground hits do 2 damage apiece. So we want to make sure the Hippogriff comes to the ground as fast as possible. And that was basically a perfect manipulation fight.
And now I'm screwing up. Let's go. I suck
So
at
now you get
tornado
to-
jumps for anybody who's
We're not
curious.
there yet.
So we'll see how these tornado jumps do.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling stuff for you guys.
Think of the children, Cinema.
What?
I mean, at least we can not get our hopes up, if you let us know.
So the long vertical room that we were in has an interesting effect where if you simply hover or jump, it increases your vertical. I don't know that it increases your speed necessarily, but you can jump higher, and you can also just float to the top. But it's faster to grab onto this wall and just jump over and over and over and over again.
Let's have a good fight here. There's an early hit you can get if I time this dash properly. Got it.
Spoilers, bro.
Spoiler.
Sorry.
Spoiler alerts.
I'm saying it as it's happening to me.
So this early hit that he apparently is going to get here does 2 damage, and it's a kind of a tight window to dash in and hit the boss, but it's so important to get it because this boss can be the difference between an amazing run and a terrible run. I mean, he can set you back 30 seconds easily. So again, as many ground shots as possible. And if you get lucky, or if you hit him really close to the edge of his iframe, he'll drop to the ground for you more often. It seems. Has yet to be proven, but I'm a staunch believer in that.
That was so clutch. Sorry, I'll shut my mouth.
So that fight was, I don't know, it was a little sketch. Definitely a little bit slow on patterns, but not terrible overall, I would say.
To be fair, that hippogriff was so good that I'm not even worried about how that green armor went.
So that crest is the air crest. And we're going to see Cinema switch into the air gargoyle right here. Basically just allows us to fly, but it also does a lot of damage to a couple bosses in this game. So each boss, like very similar to like a Mega Man, has a different damage table depending on what gargoyle you use. Not all of them are really that different, and some of them we use different gargoyles just for safety or speed purposes. But this aerial gargoyle does a ton of damage on the 2 flyer bosses.
That's actually where we're on our way right now to Flyer 1, so...
Should point out too that where that one room I was talking about had an effect that it raised you up higher. This, we call these windy rooms, and this room is actually faster to fly through with regular Firebrand than it is with Flyer Gargoyle, because the room will naturally push you right at a higher speed. I think this boss takes 6 flyer hits or something. Never mind.
I think it's like 7. Might be
3,
7.
3, 4. I can never remember. I just shoot him until he dies.
Same.
Half of the boss fight is waiting for him to spin around and then poop out the item.
If you kill him on the far right side of the screen, he takes forever because he has to come back to the middle of the screen and then do his spins.
So now we move on to the ice castle. There's a couple bosses in this game where you don't need to, but it's helpful to count how many hits that you've done on them. Just like the Flame Lord boss earlier, where you want to count to 20 and die inside him on the 20th hit. This boss takes 16 hits, the one coming up here. And some of us will just count it out so that we can kind of zone in on the fight, because it's very tricky, and you can die really easily or not die really easily, depending on how focused you are.
Yeah,
yes,
you gotta
this
just
is one of the scarier ones.
you gotta be able to predict Griwan on this fight. Why did it didn't even move over, whatever. Alright, let's see how this goes. Count to 16 with me, chat.
They can't even, we're not even there yet, bro. You're coming to us from the future.
Sorry.
So yeah, again, this fight is gonna look easy, but it mentally it just screws with you because you don't want to predict what he does. if you try to predict it, you'll jump down too early, and then he'll jump at you and hit you with his body, and that does 3 damage. And we only have 8 health, so he can kill you pretty quickly. So we drop down to the ground as soon as he crouches and fire, and it kind of locks him into this pattern. There's an alternate beginner route where you actually fight this boss a little bit later on, but killing him early saves about 10 seconds in the run over. And it's a much more consistent path than the more beginner route.
Is it really much easier to do them later?
It's quite a bit easier.
Oh, yes.
You, if you do him later, you have Legendary Gargoyle. And
Oh, it's that late.
shots.
No, you get Legendary Gargoyle from, like, usually you would do Flyer 2 and Armor 3, and then go do Griwan. But instead you do Griwan and then come back and do Flyer 2 and Armor 3. You get Legendary from Armor 3, so... It's only like 2 bosses later, and then you'll do Griwan. But it's faster to do it this way because of a crest we picked up from Griwan.
And that item we picked up, or the crest, is for Demon Fire. And Demon Fire does a ton of damage on a boss that's going to be coming up here in a couple of bosses. And that's why we do Greywon, that dog, first.
Because, like, it's slower to do Griwan with Firebrand, but it's way faster to do this boss coming up with Demon Fire, to the point where it equals out as a time save by like 7 seconds, I think. Another free trick coming up. Shut up.
Yeah, this trick is pretty free. I'll wait until we get there, though. So right here, we're going to switch to Ground Gargoyle again, because he's the only gargoyle that can break through these ice skeletons. There's a really nice damage boost where if you grab on the wall there, jump up into that little bird, you can actually boost right through him.
You're welcome, guys. I found that trick.
The obligatory I found that trick by Cinema.
Yeah. Hey, there was a trick at the beginning of the run I found, and I didn't say anything.
So there, on this flyer and the other flyer, there's actually an early hit you can get where if you fire a shot on the exact right frame of the boss, you can shoot him before the fight actually starts. And it can save a lot of time if, you know, your second to last shot, you happen to go into a really bad pattern. This is another tough boss if you're just starting playing this run too, but after you do it enough, it's pretty easy. He does a lot of damage when he hits you in the face.
That didn't go too bad. I gotta shut up. I really do. I'll just wait like 10 seconds and then say how the boss went.
So that was a pretty good fight. You want him to spin as much as you can. He can fly all over the place on the screen, and it becomes really hard to connect shots. This is probably the coolest looking room if you're watching this run for the first time, where you can't see any. There are walls and spikes and things all over the place here,
This
could
have went way better.
And these bats can really ruin your day, as you can see, is exactly what's happening right here.
I died! Oh my, that was the worst. No. I don't even know what just happened. Like, my whole game just lagged, and then I couldn't hit that one bat, and then it just all went downhill from there.
Oh boy.
So I'm just gonna do it my way instead of the way Star does it, because apparently my game likes to lag a lot. That was so dumb.
Are you blaming Star for this?
Did somebody say lag?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Actually,
we're gonna try this again.
No, if we're being honest, I accidentally pressed B instead of A once and dropped down into the bats. I totally
What's really
could've-
tricky about the bats, once one latches onto you, it's really easy to go in like panic mode, because not only do you need to try to continue to gain height, or lose height depending on what part of the stage you're in, you also need to mash left and right as fast as possible to get them off of you.
So this can be a very difficult room if you get tagged with any of them.
Yep.
As if it's not hard enough already.
So here's another boss where you can get an early shot. It's much more free than the previous ones because
And he
the
gets
room already
It's
loads.
literally free.
This guy takes 12 shots of this demon fire. We'll see if Cinema can go for the quick pickup trick, or maybe he's not even counting.
I was counting, but I got hit twice right at the end. Shut up, Tristan. Gotta shut myself up.
Yeah, it's a lot less suspenseful when we know.
I'm sorry. I really am. Hopefully
So
that's
this
the only
boss,
death.
this boss drops probably the, I don't know, either the most important or second most important crest in the game for legendary gargoyle. And this gargoyle does a ton of damage, and we're going to use it to kill every boss from here on out, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we switch from it.
Yeah. Just does a metric ton of damage. So Cinema's got 20 Zam here, which is the gold in this game, so he's going to have to break this pot to get a little bit more. Because he needs 32 Zam to buy these potions that we were talking about earlier. So I'm going to explain what they are now. The first set of potions he's going to buy are called Mercury. Those potions allow us to go back to the previous section of the level that we're in. It sounds pretty stupid, but for levels that we need to revisit to get items for 100%, we actually need to kill the boss and come back into the level. Well, if we use Mercury, instead of going to the world map and coming back in, we can just go from the boss's level right back to the previous section of the stage and get the remaining items without having to worry too much about losing time in the overworld map. There's
This is
an
about to be so
interesting
clutch.
trick, though, because if you pick up the boss's item, then you go to the world map. But if you Mercury before picking up the item, you have to fight the boss all over again. So what we do is we use the Mercury potion on a 2-frame window when we pick up the boss's item. That allows us to complete the boss, basically, and also skip the world map. And
I'll
there's
keep my
2
mouth
times
shut
in the game where
for
we do
this
it.
trick, so as to not make it anticlimactic.
Getting
Now,
the trick
Oh, sorry.
here saves about 12 seconds. The worst thing you can do is use the Mercury before picking up the boss item, because then you have to do the stage all over again.
Now, I'll donate $10 for each Mercury that Cinema's able to get.
Alright, well, that's a
Don't
lot of
say
pressure.
I know.
So we'll see if he gets this one here. So he's going to try to use the potion on the same 2 frames that he picks up the item, so he misses the first one. There's a couple different strategies that people use to do this.
I
One
used
is
the worst
walking
strategy.
into the item. One's walking into it, one's just waiting for the item to fall on you, and then another one is raising up above the item and dropping down on top of it.
Rogue's
So-
gonna hate me.
So you still got one more chance to bleed
Yeah.
$10 at him. So
That one's harder though, so.
There's one more boss where we do that trick on in this run.
That's not
If
even
you
a wall
watch the-
game. Like,
If you watch the tasks, they do, and that's a trick we call Mercury canceling. And in the tasks, they do it a ton of times. It's actually pretty fun to watch. The task route is completely different than the route that we use because of all the Mercury cancels they do.
yeah, it's a lot easier to do frame perfect inputs as a machine.
So the second set of potions is the 2 sulfurs, and that's the one that Cinema just switched to, those yellow potions. That just allows us to exit the level right into the open map. So what he's going to do is he's going to pick up that 1 vial there, and then there's a health upgrade here later on in the stage, and as soon as he picks that up, he's going to use sulfur to go back to the overworld map. Otherwise, he would have to continue through and complete the whole rest of the level, which is a waste of time. The nice task jump there, jumping on the ledge without taking damage from the bat.
thank you. I was impressed by that.
0 for $10.
To be
We'll
fair,
get
if I
him.
get sub 46, there's another $10 coming, so.
This is the last revisit stage right here. Revisit without bosses, I should say.
Jesus, get up there.
So the item that you see up on the upper right hand of the screen is it's the hand. That's one of the items that Cinema picked up when he was going underwater. Normally in this game, we talked about it early on, but you can't have two shots on screen at the same time. The hand allows us to have one extra shot on the screen, and it's really useful for moving quickly through these stages because you can shoot two aerial shots at the same time, which is enough to kill all of these enemies, where normally you would have to shoot and wait and then jump and shoot again. It also saves a lot of time breaking bricks because you can just mash shoot and not have to wait for your shots to connect.
It didn't waste any time. Shut up, Rogue. So this movement, although it's not difficult, it looks really sweet to me. If you get it correct... No, that's a damage boost. I meant to do that.
This next boss coming up is Crawler. Another really huge RNG boss in this game, and really most of the bosses in this game have a pretty decent amount of time affecting run destroying RNG.
Crawler's one of the only run killers, though.
Say that again?
I said Crawler's one of the only run killers.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
believe
can
me,
literally-
I can lose a run to any boss if you want me to.
Let's not challenge Cinema.
Yeah.
Crawler seems to be the worst, though.
Yeah, I mean he can literally just sit there and be indestructible for a minute. So that's Crawler right there. He doesn't look like that when we fight him. But we have to come up here before the boss fight to get this.
Holy mother of God, that menuing was bad.
So we switch to Ultimate Gargoyle, switch Ocean, and do this fight. Now this guy, you can manipulate him a little bit by changing the distance between Firebrand and him, but sometimes he can just walk back and forth, and you can only hit him when his eye is open. So that's why Cinema's not shooting any shots right now because it's completely.
Wow, a 5 cycle? You're kidding me.
I would say this is probably the worst boss in the game as far as RNG goes.
Totally.
Hate my life. I don't know. I want to go back and replay that. I didn't do anything wrong.
Let's see. So we missed the Mercury.
Literally, as you see me touch the Mercury, I hit the button, so I don't know what to tell you. I have no
So
idea.
no
what
Mercury
to tell you.
cancels today, but that's alright.
No, that's
So
not
I
alright.
So I guess I get to keep my pizza money.
You can get extra pizza.
Exactly.
I hate you.
I was just trying
So-
to help a good cause, but you just wouldn't let me.
No, the game wouldn't
Boss
let you. I
drops.
didn't do anything wrong, okay? I swear.
Oh yeah, we got this crest from Crawler, that's right.
Wow, I just got hit by the same item twice because I was falling down and it was falling down with me.
Rogue, I think it was just he bought an off-brand Mercury and it just didn't work the same.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I swear on my life, I hit
He
that
didn't
button.
have enough ZAM for the real Mercury, so we went with the house brand.
Yeah. I got like great value Mercury.
This water
Sulfur
gargoyle is actually pretty tough to drive. You have to hold the special button, which is either going to be A or I use Alt. And then you also have to use jump, which increases your height in the water, and then you also have to shoot. So you're actively using 3 buttons. which can be kind of tricky. Some
I'm
of
not-
us use the claw to do this.
I'm not hiding my shame. I
Some switch
deselected
button
it so I
layouts.
don't hit Mercury in the middle of this level.
That would suck.
I've done that in a run before. PB pace too. Wow, these frogs are not being kind.
So here you want to not get hit because when you're in iframes, the game lags quite a bit. And the more, I mean, just like any other game, the more sprites on screen you get. So if you miss shots, they usually explode on the walls, and they have a lot of sprites that come up.
And the other thing too is this boss takes quite a bit of health. So if we get hit too much, we have to switch to armor, which means we do less damage.
It doesn't matter, this boss has iframes. So hand's not gonna affect them.
Yeah, hand doesn't actually.
So
It
switching to
can make
armor
the
really
fight a
doesn't
little
matter.
bit more consistent. But we end up taking a lot of damage just because we don't actually use the water gargoyle here because legendary does so much. This is actually this is the
You
perfect
turd.
pattern to get on Hollow 3.
No, it started off as the perfect pattern. I'm one hit away and I got cocky.
Oh, he
and-
sucked in. Oh boy, yep.
No, I could have killed him before he sucked in, but I got cocky and tried to go for the inside kill.
Did you? Oh, so this is another boss where you can die inside the boss, and pick up the item before his death animation. And this one, I think it's probably in the same realm of Flame Lord, but you can see he's just off of it there. But even being close saves a lot of time. Laggy when you walk through the water.
So this is our last boss before we do the famous Capcom boss rush. And we wouldn't be able to get here without the aerial gargoyle because you have to cut those ropes.
It's basically random whether or not those things shoot out those little worms or not, but it's when they shoot out the little worms, it's bad because it costs a ton of lag, and then it causes you to miss these water cycles, which makes the level so much slower. So normally you would want the water to be down right here, but since you got such bad lag there, it's completely reversed. This is the last time we'll see water gargoyle, so raise a glass.
I could always do Phalanx 1 as water gargoyle if you want.
Phalanx 2.
Phalanx 3.
Sure,
Yeah,
screw it.
you could probably swim through the lava, really. I don't
If
think
we're being
anyone's
honest.
tried.
This is probably the lamest boss fight in the game.
By far.
It's really, really difficult without legendary, but with legendary, it's just like the easiest, lamest boss in the entire game.
And that's the boss.
Yeah, that's it.
Easier than Hippogriff 1. Almost as easy as Samulo.
Factual.
So this is the final castle. One thing that's kind of interesting about this game is if you go into the castle without picking up certain items or defeating certain bosses, you won't even get to this stage. You'll jump immediately to the final boss, which if you watch an any percent run, that's what you'll see. But in 100%, we have to go through this whole extra level where we refight a bunch of bosses.
Don't ask me why I switched to that gargoyle there, because I don't know.
I just figured you thought you were having a good time, so you wanted to slow it down for the rest of us at home.
No, I thought I was doing Hippogriff 2 for some reason.
This Hippogriff acts more like Hippogriff 2 1, So basically the same patterns and same manipulations. And there's 2 items left to pick. And they're both in the final level. These 2 items are in really, really hidden spots. So we'll see if you guys can guess where they are before he gets to them.
And that item that Cinema didn't get, that was just a health refill. It's not required for 100%, as it's not really an item. It's just basically a potion.
So yeah, who'd have thought that this bell contains an item if you headbutted it there? Not 13-year-old me, that's for damn sure.
Not me at 20 years old.
Cinema
I still didn't know it
forget
was
to
there.
this day.
Yeah, he was actually doing 99% until today, then we showed him the bell.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had no
we're
idea.
like, dude, you know
Blew my
what
mind.
the item in the bell, right?
And that's when it rang a bell.
The next item is here through the floor, which you'd never know about.
I feel like this was all just a ruse to get everyone to buy Nintendo Power to find like the last 2 items.
That's probably true.
So that last item is called the Claw.
Fang.
The Fang.
Yeah, it's called
for whatever
Fang.
reason, I started calling it the Claw, and now I never call it.
I believe Claw is the one you use to grip onto spike walls.
Ah, that's right. So the Fang lets us do double damage. So Cinema's going to equip the Fang for this next boss fight, and that allows us to basically cut the rest of the fights in half.
That doesn't even look like a claw.
So if you remember this dog fight from earlier on in the game, it's literally this easy if you have legendary. Well, I mean you have to hit him twice as much because you don't have the double damage talisman, but it's basically the same fight. It's the Claw.
Please. So we're getting close
Oh,
to the end. Shouldn't be much longer if I do this correctly.
So this
So this is first phase phalanx,
That was
final boss.
pretty sick.
first phase of 3.
The first 2 are no problem. You should not die to them if you know what you're doing.
So Cinema takes no damage on the first phase. Good, because he's gonna need all the health he can get for the final phase. The hardest part about this boss is being able to hold your hover in midair, because what's going to happen on the second phase is Cinema's going to have to take some hits in midair, but he's also going to need to stay hovering at the same height that phalanx is. If you press B too early to hold your hover, you're going to fall to press it too late, you're not going to be high enough. Definitely takes some practice. He also has a really interesting, extremely long iframe in the middle of the fight. I'll try to point it out.
I just gave a really good example of losing your hover in this fight, though.
Yep, so once you lose your hover, you gotta basically... So here comes the long iframe.
I still have enough to go for 2 cycles of quick kill, but after that I'm going to play it safe.
So 12 health isn't great. Normally you want to get out of here with at least 13 or 14, because on this final boss there's a quick kill strategy, and we're going to take a number of hits to the body. And this final boss does 3 hits when you hit him in the body.
I tried for you, Rufus, but
4
I couldn't
damage, rather.
I couldn't get the swag jump that mattered.
Oh man.
Reset.
Yeah, this round's
We may as
invalid.
well, I mean. We can try the Mercuries again.
Right? That second one was BS. The first one I missed. I'll admit that, but the second one was BS.
So this final boss, basically, what Cinema's going to try to do is fly up and just bash in his face as long as he can. There's definitely some RNG involved here on the patterns that you get, and that either makes it easier or harder. But again, being able to hover after taking damage here is key to getting this quick kill.
Yeah.
So Cinema got hit a lot there in the beginning, so he's going to have to probably do this the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. If you get good cycles, it's still kind of fast.
You want him to shoot blue lasers out of his mouth as much as he can.
Yeah, and I'm completely convinced it's random because I've just had 6 lightning bolts in a row. Like, what is this? 7? Went right back up to his head immediately, and he still shot lightning bolts. Whatever.
Even on the final boss in this game, the RNG is not like everyone's head runs ended or turned into garbage times by this boss.
Whoever's on the timer should get ready. I should have this.
Gotcha.
If he stops, like, impregnating me, this is terrible. I've never had so many lightning bolts in my life.
And obviously, or maybe it's not obvious, you can only hit him when his top hands are off of his face. If you do it just right, you can hit him twice.
All right,
He does
get ready.
that blue
5.
laser bolt, but it's really tight.
And 1 more hit. How about a lightning bolt instead? Time.
46-42.
Damn it! Matt got out of donating $10. Damn it!
Man,
It was the death. It was the death and the
You're-
2 missed Mercuries.
your run had a potential to raise $30 just by showing up.
My run had a potential
Just
to PB
by
if
showing
I
up.
yeah, my run had a potential to PB if I didn't die and miss both Mercury cancels.
You know, I say just showing up, but you know, a 2-frame trick that happens.
Yeah,
twice
just
in the
showing
final-
up.
and then
The
the
second
whole
one was
run-
BS. If one of you guys wants to like slow that down,
I mean, 1 frame should be enough, but it kindly gives you 2.
Yeah,
Star,
exactly,
I'm gonna hit
which
you
is-
so hard.
which is twice as much as you should need. Well, that was Demon's Crest.
Yeah, I hope you
All right,
guys
thanks a
enjoyed
lot,
it.
guys. Anything else you want to say?